allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for attending. Any additions or deletions to the agenda? Nope, not today. Okay, any patrons registered to comment on action items? No. All right, we have a retiree recognition tonight. Dana, would you like to
Start here, yes, here. So tonight I want to recognize Linda Pastizak for her 28 years here of working with Tri-Creek School Corporation. I want to say that Linda is the silent heartbeat of the school here, especially for the last 28 years where she's just kept us moving along here financially and support to other staff members like you wouldn't believe here, because she has trained many throughout here, including myself, on Tri-Creek practices. And she has just done a great job of keeping the integrity that we need within our department here for school finance and school bookkeeping. And so it's my great honor to thank Linda. Would you mind coming on up? I'm not going to miss you because I know you'll be here, but yes, for everything you've done here, you've done an awesome job. Thank you.
Are you going to still hang around and do things within the school?
I've been training.
Yes.
My replacement, so tomorrow's my real last day.
Okay.
So, yeah. So,
And
and I told her that she could call me anytime she needs help, so.
You're not running away to a vacation house in Florida?
No, we're, our grandkids live in California, so we're gonna go out there for Thanksgiving, and then in April and May, we're gonna go out there. And I'm bringing my daughter all of her stuff.
And are you also retired?
I'm gonna have to retire again now. I've been retired, but now with her being retired, I gotta start sticking a little closer to home, I guess. She's gonna know where I'm gonna be all the time.
So you got to go first, and then now it's nice.
You know, I think one of the nice things about Linda is I got acquainted with her well over 25 years ago as she was a parent and a booster parent. She dedicated her whole self to the schools, and I came back then over 2 decades later, and Linda didn't change. You not only saw her during the workday, but you saw her at all hours after the workday. And so this is a huge loss for Tri-Creek schools, but very happy for you.
I'm gonna still be working the gates. Football, the track or treat and the special needs basketball games and, you know, stuff like that.
Good. We still get to see you around.
Yeah.
Great. Well, enjoy your retirement.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Guest reports. Scott, would you like to come on?
Good evening, everyone. And Chris, unfortunately, is feeling a little under the weather today, so I'm his fill-in. So I know a lot about the project overall, but the specific details I may not know. So I hope I can cover everything.
We'll grill you tonight then.
That's what I'm worried about. I think I can handle some of it. We'll get started with the normal sequence that we do. Just give updates on the high school natatorium edition. Next one, please.
They're putting brick up there? Was that the natatorium?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
So what's happening there, I mean, I was walking around there today. It looks really good, nice, neat, orderly, a lot of good things happening. I mean, the obvious thing is that we're trying to get enclosed enough for the winter, which is always a challenge this time, but a lot of good things happening. The steel's scheduled to arrive. I'll go in order here as Chris has it, but really if you look at the progress photos for it, if we can go to that, Jay, we've got the, continue with the mechanical, electricals, and plumbing and fire protections going on. You can see the precast that's a shot there on the right of the, concrete bleachers. Came in nicely and do some welding and things in there. We're beginning the west entry ramp and stairs and setting the transformer, which is always nice to have at this time. Finishing some of the hydronic piping for the chiller, and that chiller startup is September 12th. We'll continue setting the steel bar joists and metal decking on the lower level. That's what I was talking about earlier, jumping ahead, talking about getting enclosed in the roof on it. With all the material here, that's a good sign. And you can see the decking's out there. I think we're in pretty good shape there. Next one, please. Couple of photos you can see going on there, some of the bar joists, and the brick veneer is going up, insulation. Some of the plumbing there in the locker room area you can see. So, progressing nicely. Upcoming work, when we look at that, we got the concrete poured around the canopy column bases. The concrete footings poured and starting the brick for the benches, begin the brick color staining in ethos. I know we're trying to shake out the right colors and color selection, so hopefully we can do that pretty soon here and get going. Light fixture replacements continuing at the high school and corridor. If you recall, we had to hustle and get that done in the summer, and then some of the off rooms and areas are remaining, which we anticipated. But it's coming along. We're starting the light fixture replacement in the locker rooms at the high school. That's some of those off areas I talked about. We'll begin installing the mechanical pumps and continue the hydronic piping work. You'll see some pictures there of the progress. Happy to answer any questions.
Any insight on the drainage of the football field?
Yeah, we understand, I think we, I know we've found the issue there. And I think right after the season, that'll finally be taken care of. There was some areas that maybe had a little more debris in it than we expected. We found there was either washout during the construction or whatever. It's draining nicely from what I hear now. This is just buttoning it up and finishing it up. So.
Thank you for everything that you did to be a part of that resolution.
Yeah, it's just, it takes time to solve these things because again, you got everybody, you know, who's at fault. You gotta find what the problem is before you can solve it, as we know. And that's always who's right, who's wrong, and battling behind the scenes, a lot of that. But we're battling on your side, so I think.
Speaking of that, we figured out a solution to the battle for the baseball scoreboards. Do we have any idea when that work is gonna take place?
I don't, I know it's been resolved.
Is the plan to have it before
Yes.
season starts?
Yes.
Oh,
definitely
okay,
before
great.
the season starts.
Are they just moving it?
Pardon me? Yeah, it's gonna be relocated. That was just one of those, again, another one of those things where the architect and everybody's getting in sync, but it's resolved, I think, in the right way.
And not at our cost?
I think it's important that the board knows, we're noticing some issues on the tennis court that we're trying to identify the problem and work on. So if you happen to hear anything in the community, we're aware of it. And
I walked it before the meeting, and it actually looks much better than what I would have thought from the conversations we had. It's common, you'll see in tennis courts when you put the coat on, there's ferrous materials that come through that's in every product. It's not just the Northwest Indiana thing, but we found that through research that that limestone med mixture contains some ferrous materials. And there's ways to remedy it. Again, we just got to figure out what the right remedy is, get it approved by the architect, get it with the contractors to make sure what we're doing is right and it doesn't come back. And I think we can do that because I think some of the products that were in my research seem to be a little higher grade for us that kind of anticipate some of this more over time. If Nate Cleafish was here, he would know 20-something years ago, it was like, put it down, coat it, pops up. You know, it's just, you see a lot of that. But in my mind, of course, it's not as bad as I thought, but it's there and we got to fix it. So that's our plan. And we'll have to wait. I think tennis is over here October.
We have some really stellar tennis players, so their season could be extended if they make it through, you know, the state series?
So we have some time and we're gonna coordinate, you know, it's gonna be tricky, whatever the remedy is when we get it in. 'Cause again,
At that
it's
phase
spring.
2, it might get to a point where they only need a couple courts,
Right.
because it might
But
only be a
we'll
few.
work it out once we get the resolution.
Did you see when you were out there on that ridge on Court 2?
It looked like crazy. Well, I would have had to pay admission to go get in. No, I was walking around the side peeking, I didn't see anything, but we're gonna look at it.
You have to be on the court to see it.
All right.
Yeah, okay. They had a match today?
Soccer going on,
Oh,
girls soccer, I think it was. So, it'd be nice to watch some of that. So yeah, we're on that again, you know, these things behind the scenes, it's always, you know, you could blame, but you gotta have a case
Mhm.
and find out what's going on, and that's what we're doing behind the scenes a lot. And making sure that we have the right resolution.
well, now that I know that you didn't actually walk on there are a couple spots where the stuff is coming up and it's chipped off the finish, like the green or the blue.
Seen that, yeah, we see some of that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
Glad that there's a potential solution.
Since you're standing there, there is an item for board action later on the agenda regarding to the amendment to the contract and the additional work.
Right.
Could you just give the board a summary of
Sure.
what that, how you calculated it and
If
why?
you recall, we have the initial contract that we have that's based on a time frame that we know at that point. If you know, remember all the planning we did, nobody really knew where the scope would be and how this would shake out. So we strategically ended up bidding the natatorium, and you were gracious enough to give me an amendment for that to extend the time. Our contract, I'm not going after any fee because the grand total hasn't changed that much. It's the time that I have to have people on site that I'm trying to be reimbursed. So if you look at the pool, for example, the fact that the pool renovation, the infill area and the gymnastics area and those areas, that's gonna extend us out about 5 months because we can't start that until the existing pool is complete. If it was going on at the same time, similar to the light fixture project and some of those, you wouldn't see any time because we have people here in the staffing year and an extra guy. So my fee is for my staff and probably an extra guy at that time to watch some of that stuff for an additional 5 months. And that's what I'm asking for.
And just to update the board on how that looks, this is, what he's talking about is what we're calling phase 3. And we didn't know if phase 3 would happen or not. It only was going to happen if phase 2 of the natatorium was within and under budget. And so the good news is that we do get to finish out phase 3. And so that's why now we
And
have
it really,
to
you know, I think
contract.
it's a feather in everybody's cap when you look at the budget and monitoring how we strategically set that up. Because if you recall, trying to get that natatorium in there under this and still get everything else that you want, some of the finance, you know, some of the things that helped that along. You're able to do the lighting, you're able to take care of some of these other things, along with not only the infill at the pool, but some of those other areas. And I suspect there's still gonna be some left over. And what my hope is, one of the reasons we're bidding that early is obviously to procure material and try and shorten that duration. But I'm hoping that there's other stuff we could fit in there between now and that extension that we have. That's the idea. So there's won't be any additional time or anything else. And I think that's gonna be doable with us bidding that in, I think it was February, we said.
Yeah.
So in February, we'll have the answer to that test. Now it's like reload, what else do we need? It's gonna help you with your capital projects down the road.
At one
Take
time,
care.
we thought the pool would be another time, another day, so.
And it was
But now they're
deliberate what
stretched.
we did, so, you know, to approach it that way, someone could say, well, why didn't you just bid the existing pool with the rest of the package? Well, we wanted to make sure we had the money to do it, and again, it's that conservative approach as you go along, and it allows you to creep up to these things and get them done right, you know, I mean, you can design them now, hoping you have enough, and if bids didn't come in good, then you know, it messes things up, so I think it's a good approach, and you're getting a lot of bang for the buck, you know, I think overall, under the circumstances with the economy and things like that when we started. So I'm happy with it, but it's really, are you guys happy with it? I hope you are with the way it's been programmed. We got construction we're working on, and there'll always be those kinds of things, but I think nobody can say anything about the budget and things like that. So that's what we're asking.
We're planning some projects at my house right now, and my husband's saying, how are we affording this? And I said, I'm an expert now in value engineering. So this value engineering has taught me so much.
I think it's not so much the value engineering, but the thoughtful approach to it with a conservative eye and still trying to make it look good.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes people go overboard and want too much because it's like you can't unsee something sometimes, and it's the discipline to stay in that lane and get what you really need, and then you can always go back and get some of the extra things. So that's kind of been the approach as we went along.
Any questions from the board? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want, Jason? Yeah, you do not have to stay. This is the boring part. That's nice to get an update on. Jason next.
Yes.
Okay.
I think you guys are just programming me to be like the next PR person.
I think we need to just add you as a line item. Instead of a guest, you're just gonna be a regular.
All right, so I'm just gonna give some things that have been completed over the last couple of weeks. The North Star lights were completed. The lights on the north parking lot sign and the admin sign have been completed. The North Star lockers are just still needed numbers and fillers around the composite of the lockers, kind of fill that and make it a clean look. They reseeded the whole sports complex on 9-4 to get grass back in the areas that, were struggling.
1 second, go back to the lockers. Did they fix that corner in the football locker that was exposed?
I believe that's the filler part. Some of
Okay.
that's gonna be the fillers that they, you might see some gaps on the top and on the sides, but they're gonna need some fillers for. So they're
Okay.
waiting for those to ship out. We fixed most of the outlets on the tennis court. There's just one we're switching out now. And then that's pretty much it for the construction. But I wanna address the solar panel fields. So this year, weeds and small trees under a solar panel field outpaced our grounds crew and our mowing schedule. With the crew already stretched by other campus maintenance tasks, mowing the lawn wasn't enough to suppress the trees and the weeds in the solar panel fields. So with that impacting the campus appearance and maybe the equipment. So to address this, we're gonna use integrated vegetation management. So rather than relying on just mowers to combat some of those lovely mulberry trees from the birds and some of those other trees, we're gonna use a hybrid approach. We're gonna use some herbicides and growth inhibitors underneath just the panels, just so that slows the growth down underneath those. And then we're gonna mow it also, but we won't be in such a rush to get that if we're using broadleaf spectrum herbicides plus growth inhibitors. That will keep it down so it won't ever reach into that area. And then that will promote the low growth pollinators, so that we kind of overstretch what mulberries can outgrow things. And so that's our approach coming up, and it's a perfect timing because early fall is when you want to do the pre-emergent. So we're working with some companies now to try to get some quotes, and they haven't come back bad. I mean, I was expecting when you use growth inhibitor for the cost to be up there, it's really not that bad. So some of the benefits of using both methods is you get season-long control over a few applications. You reduce your labor mowing and breakdowns from your tractors in those very thick areas. I kind of did a cost savings. You can do a cost savings of 30 to 50%, so it's probably like $100 to $300 an acre if you slow down the mowing with the fuel, the breakdowns, and all that stuff. So that kind of helps us take on that herbicide and growth inhibitor. And it reduces the risk of panel shading, equipment damage, soil erosion, protecting the panels and just the infrastructure all the way around. So by doing this approach now, we can lower maintenance costs, preserve our solar energy output, and maintain a clean professional appearance across the campus. So So that's our attack for this year coming up, and we're timing that right here with September, October to get that pre-emergent done. So hopefully with this style of management with that, we won't have to be ever faced with, because I guess when you drove through there, you see the tops of them, but what you don't see is the guys actually clip them, but they've grown in between there, so they don't want to just pull them out. So they gotta wait for them to die off, so they don't pull the wires out or, get any close to those inverters. So you might see some live tops, but that doesn't mean they're not cut. But this method will get all that away, so it just look clean on a consistent basis.
Are any of, I've seen we had a football game, so I've seen the middle school fields. Are the elementary schools in similar?
No, the elementaries are kind of easier to keep up because they're not as large.
Okay.
Right? So you can go in there with a mower and usually get most of that tacked. It's your large arrays, that like mainly the middle school that we have. And if it rains, it gets flooded back there. So
Oh, yeah, it's
now we
low.
have an issue of trying to get a tractor in there.
Mhm.
So it's mainly the middle school that we have an issue with. So that's where we're really going to focus this new method on and see what that works out and spread it across if it works out.
Doesn't seem like it.
Don't say, I know you know the herbicide business.
I know.
And I was waiting too.
I don't even know why you mowing the grass. You just let the grass go. Just get the woodies,
We're gonna try that, but with, the way it floods and all that, we wanna keep it down, so if we have to go through for repairs, we don't wanna trash the grass, that.
Tell them Phillips and just grab a couple of sheep, just throw them in.
Yeah, I wish, that'd be awesome. That was some of the research I did, a lot of large area panels, they use goats and sheep in their areas to keep them going.
Oh, you said sheep. I thought you said sheets. I'm like, what
Yeah, we just throw sheets down.
White newspaper.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, business operations, Dana?
Okay, so a Dana report wouldn't be complete without a spreadsheet with lots of numbers on it, so here we go. Last week, we had our net assessed value for 2026 released. So I've got, of course, our number's important, but then also I take a look at every single district in Region 1, Lake, Porter, and LaPorte. So this is my history document, which actually shows the years, and what we're gonna look at are the orange columns of just where we are. And I have them sorted in a specific way, and you'll see when we get to 2026. So just taking a look at Lake County here up on the top, just the percent increase over previous year, that's our orange columns here. So you see that we had a 4.4% increase here in 2022. That was the bang year here of 21.53% increase. And that's the number right here compared to the number of the previous year. So we still had an increase here in 2024 of almost 5%. And let's just look at these 2 years here. So we were 7.78% increase last year. This year we came in at a 3.25, and that's good. We increased our value here. You can see we went over the 2 billion mark for our assessed value as a school district here in all the townships. Now I've got them sorted from highest increase down to the lowest. So you will see that we are the lowest in the county that didn't have a negative growth, Whiting having a negative growth there where they actually lost assessed value. Odd things to note here, of course, is that Lake Station has a 23.06% increase, double digits and then some. Gary and Lake Ridge, that area for some reason received a large pop in assessed value. I have no explanation as to why that is specific there. You could say maybe the casino that's there, but it doesn't touch all three communities, so it's kind of hard to understand why those three got it. Lake Station got the highest jump where the casino is not in Lake Station there. So it's kind of odd that that happened. You can see the countywide average, including those ups and downs, the highs and the lows, is 6.80. So it's kind of odd that Tri Creek received a lower assessed value, although we're happy that the assessed value did go up. I will say this is not specific to Lake County. It is statewide that there are some mysteries here of just why assessed value went up in certain areas and it didn't go up in others. When I scroll down here to show you Porter County, you will see that Porter County, 1.87 average, so very low compared to what Lake County's was. There's no double digits whatsoever in Porter, and same thing with LaPorte County. So those double digits are definitely out of the norm here. How does this play out for us? So we are working with Policy Analytics to update our Senate Enrolled Act 1 effects and impact based on this information, because everything from the DLGF was built on a flat assessed value. And so now we've got a little growth. Everything from Policy Analytics was built on right around a 3% if nothing had happened, like if we didn't have Senate Enrolled Act. This is gonna play into the impact of my report from last month, which was a real downer of the $2 million loss that we had. So it's going to affect that a little bit. I hope to have those updated reports. I think we're maybe about a week and a half is what I'm hearing. They gave me a 3-week mark when I asked last week, so.
This is starting to feel like the stock market, like day trading.
I know. Try writing a budget with it when this is going
Can't
on, you know?
imagine.
And no crystal ball on this one. So I just wanted to report out that, you know, we did have some growth here, 3.25, which is good. And again, you have to keep in mind that a lot of this growth is in residential TIF areas too, when you think of the growth around here. And those are areas that we don't receive tax money from. That is, you know, under the tax increment financing, which would not go to the school district. So it is a good growth, albeit, but not necessarily doesn't equate to tax money coming straight to Tri-Creek School Corporation due to that factor. Any questions or anything?
Nope.
The other item that I just have for tonight is that I am going to request that we have 2 board meetings in October, our regular board meeting that we have scheduled. And then if we could have another one for board adoption of the budget. Given this, like you said, Katie, ever-changing landscape here, my plan to get it done early this year would not work because this information came out very late. The net AV was due August 1st, and we didn't get it till last week. So
Oh, wow, that
I
was
could
late.
not start really diving into the budget on that level to bring it to you guys. So the choices are the 23rd, adding a meeting on the 23rd, which comes right off of fall break. And that we could do, I know there's an event that day, fine arts event, we could do early if you'd like at 5:30. It would be budget adoption, which is pretty quick. Or we could add to the 30th of the month. We have a statutory deadline of November 3rd that we have to have it adopted before. The only risk you have with later is just that I need 3 of you to show up that day, no matter what, because there is no second chances on that, and if we don't have a quorum, then it won't work. So it's either the 23rd or the 30th, and I think it might back in nicely to give us an opportunity to approve the CBA too, so in there.
How does the 23rd work for you guys?
I have no preference. Either one works. I'll make it work.
23rd?
23rd, 5:30 work, or do you wanna do regular time?
5:30 is fine with me.
What's that?
5:30?
You make it 6?
6?
Sure.
Right.
It works for
I
me,
work till
but
5:30.
yeah, which, either one.
You work there? Okay, so the 23rd at 6. It's unanimous.
I appreciate
Well,
it, thank you.
Nate already had a little heads up that we might be needing to meet that day, so we should be fine.
Sounds good, and that concludes my report today.
Great. All right. Tammy, curriculum instruction and assessment?
Yeah, so our year is underway and it's, we're heading in a great direction. Our programming is up and running. We had a couple of hiccups with one of our vendors whose sales rep had taken a job elsewhere, but everything is now up and running, so we are in a pretty good spot. We did also post up the assessment calendar that is found on our website, Tri-Creek's website, and if you go to departments, curriculum and instruction, it is listed there. We do have already, unfortunately, one change in there. The middle school and intermediate school, we're going to begin doing the first I Learned checkpoint. But the state has some hiccups with a new program that they have where they are putting in their individual education plan accommodations through that system with the TIDE system, which is the testing system. So those two aren't talking right now. So in order to make sure that we're compliant with the law and give our students every possible advantage that they can have, we are going to delay that. So that's really the only change right now that we have in that, on that calendar. Professional development is also underway. We've been having our early release days. So we had in September, we had test security and integrity, which is a requirement from the state. And all Tri-Creek school members, all staff underwent that training. We also had in October, we have the second part of our K-4 textbook adoption. We're going to have all of our elementary teachers working with and meeting with the SAVIS representatives to look at that. We have a rubric that we're going to be using that we've modified from the state to make sure that we have high quality materials. And then we will also do an IXL training for our secondary staff, so grades 5 through 10. IXL is a program that we use for progress monitoring in all 4 areas. We got really kind of a good deal on that with this vendor. So science, social studies, math, and English language arts. And that's one that I'm excited that we'll bring to the secondary level. We are also having training that's happening next week with mathematics. We have contracted with Solution Tree and a wonderful woman named Gwen Zimmerman who works with our secondary math teachers, so grades 5 through 8 and Algebra 1. We'll be working with her all of next week, a single day, a release day with them. And then we will be working with another consultant named Carrie Rosebrock for professional learning communities. And she'll be working really with coaching on the communities and working with administrators. We've already had her come in to do an administration session and help our leadership grow in that area. And then the last thing is the health and wellness curriculum is ready for board approval tonight. And you have before you a print copy. And once it's been approved, then we are able then to post that to our school website to make sure that we are compliant with the movement. And I am open for any questions that you may have.
These half days that we tried out last year really seem to be like a welcome break for families now to be able to schedule appointments, and it doesn't seem like it's been a disruption. It seems like it's perfectly laid out, so.
It gives our district an opportunity to do things with professional development with our staff members that we wouldn't be able to do otherwise because of not being able to find substitute teachers. Our teachers don't like to be out of the classrooms, et cetera. So we've been able to take advantage of that time.
The last one, my son is currently in algebra and needed a little assistance, and he was able to set up some tutoring with a friend. And so he spent his hour after school in between practice getting some tutoring, and it worked out. He ended up doing great on the test, and so he doesn't normally have that time and window once he get done with sports and things like that. So it was nice to have. I'm grateful for it. All right. Any questions about presentation? No? Thank you. All right. Technology report. You got anything?
Just a quick update on issues that I brought up last year. We had a situation towards the end of last year that I shared with the board regarding some case issues with our iPads. At that time, we worked with Apple and another manufacturer that we identified that we thought had a really great case, and they offered to replace those for us at no cost. So they sent us about approximately 1,000 devices that we swapped out. And those students had those cases over the summer. And during that time, we also refreshed devices in grades 2, 5, 9, and then also our 10th grade, current 11th grade, which was 10th grade students. with those same cases, so the newer ones that we received. Fortunately, at the start of the year here, we started getting some reports of similar issues, where we're seeing problems with keyboards cases that are not charging, the keyboard and trackpad doesn't work, sometimes it just dies completely, sometimes it's intermittent. So when we started seeing this issue the first week of school, I reached out to Apple and the case manufacturer, and they have been sending us regular warranty replacements for those. All those are warranted for 4 years, so there's no additional cost on our end. But unfortunately, it's gotten to the point where we were seeing a couple a week. It is now escalating to where we're seeing 10 to 15 a day. Mostly at the middle school, because those devices have been in use a little longer. When we noticed that issue and brought it up to them, we asked that they have an engineer come on site to take a look at them, which they did. The engineer took some of those back with him and worked with their manufacturing team to find out the issues with them and to determine what the next steps would be to fix those. Right away, they gave us the commitment that they will be replacing all of the cases at no cost to us. They want to obviously support this in any way that they can. Today, I met with my team and I met with them, and they have committed that the issues that they've found with it are going to be fixed in manufacturing. That is currently actually starting right now. It will take approximately 1 month for that process to complete. As soon as those devices are ready, they are shipping them directly to us. And they will be sending out, that's going to be approximately 2,000 cases, and they will be sending out a team to install those for us at no cost as well. We want to do that to minimize the downtime for students and the instructional time that would be lost with that. So once we have more information on the dates for that, I'll share that with the board. We expect that to be a pretty minimal impact during the day. In the meantime, they're continuing to send us replacements from their current stock, which we know has the issue, but it doesn't show up right away, typically. So we think that'll get us through the month here. I also requested some compensation for them for assistance, because my team is being pulled away to do this. And they said that they will happily do that as well. So we're looking at either bringing back a temp staff worker that we had, or potentially some overtime for my staff, but that will again be at no cost to Tri Creek. They are paying the bill for that. So it's obviously a situation none of us want to be in, and we don't like to see a situation where things continue to escalate. But at least the good news is that we do have a plan in place to fix it, and it will incur any additional costs for us.
You must be a shark negotiator.
Well,
This is fantastic. Thank
I-
you.
I appreciate that. I will say our team at Apple has been on this. That is one of the concerns we had. We brought to them right away and said, look, this happened last year. We cannot have this happen again this year. We need to fix this issue. And they have been on it. The manufacturing team as well. It's not a situation they want to be in, but every time we've met with them, they have said, we will do everything we can to make this as minimal a headache for your students. So.
Well, developing the right rapport and relationships is part of negotiating, so
Yeah.
thank you.
These aren't the magic keyboards, so that.
These are not. This is from a company called Zag. And like I said, we were very happy with what we initially saw, but lightning strikes twice here, apparently. Would not have expected this to happen, but here we are. So
Are there other school districts in the area that have these cases?
there are. There is one, I want to say, I think North Newton got some of these as well, and we're seeing the same issues. One of the things we found in talking with Apple is that since Indiana schools come back to school a little bit earlier than some of the other states, we're probably on the front end of this, and that they were expecting to start seeing this with other schools as well.
Yeah,
So
they're not gonna have
I know,
such easy success.
Like my oldest has that case. So do you charge the iPad part or do you charge the keyboard?
So what we're finding is that in most cases, the issue is that the keyboard and the trackpad stop working. It doesn't impact charging.
Okay.
We started, just today, I had my first reports of a couple that were having issues with charging in addition to those other issues. So we suspect that the keyboard has just died completely. We swapped those completely. We have been getting boxes of those sent to us daily. I've got about 150 of them coming in tomorrow. So we're gonna do a big replacement. We have a lot of middle school students right now that are having that issue. Next week, we have another 800 cases. We just said, send us everything you have. Do whatever we can to try to minimize that downtime. So we won't need them, hopefully they fix this issue, we can send those back, but we want to be prepared, especially knowing the testing is coming up. We want to make sure that we can do everything we can to minimize that downtime.
Yeah, Titus's keyboard had that issue and he had to get a delay on his concussion testing.
Yeah.
And he was like, I better get this fixed. I have to be able to play.
Luckily, he knows actually how to fix it, so.
Well, he said he did it.
Yeah.
He was trying to do some fixes and then he's like, I have to take it down there. I don't know what to do to fix this. So it's fixed. He's fine.
So,
Thank you. Thank you for everything you do. Superintendent report.
All right, so let's travel back in time a year ago to the intermediate middle school campus. The dismissal bell would ring at 3:15. At that time, we would have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students report to the cafeteria, report to the gymnasium, and not knowing when their bus would come, and there'd be a Google Doc, oh, hey, bus number 46 just pulled in the driveway, and 5 kids would hear it, and so I've got the picture painted, right? So
We all have kids at the middle school, so we know.
suffered through that. There's a teacher here there's a bus driver here. So this year started off reconfiguring some items on the bus lot, elongating the school day to 3:27, and it worked a little bit better, but it didn't fix the problem. Our guiding principle of continuous improvement, shared responsibility, and focus on solutions came together, and in the afternoon, we flip-flopped the parent pickup line and the bus to opposite locations. The rationale was to get the majority of the bus fleet on campus and parked in the same spot every single day so that when a kid came out of the school, they knew exactly where to walk to get on their bus. So I'm happy to report that school's dismissing at 3:27, and last week the majority of the fleet goes, and then there are 2, maybe sometimes 3 buses that will then go 3 minutes later. At 3:37, all of the buses in the first wave were dismissed, and 3 minutes later, the rest of them were all gone.
Well,
So, looking in a time span of 12 minutes to have everybody boarded on a bus and out of there.
Pretty sure it was even faster today.
ooh.
Yeah. It's
This week
record.
has been
Probably never happened in the history of that
pretty good.
school.
So are the LIS students getting picked up, where are they getting picked up at?
Yeah, on the
That
west side,
new loop
in the back.
where the buses were
Where
going.
the buses were going, so now all the buses are up in the front?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a little weird because all the staff park then in the middle school lot, so if you drive by the intermediate school during the day, you think it's closed.
It does.
But the parking lot's cleared because it sets the stage for our bus lot in the afternoon. So that is definitely something to celebrate. You got, instead of quote unquote supervising kids or babysitting them after school, they're in class, we can continue learning, and then efficiency happens and nobody goes to the cafeteria, nobody goes to the gym, they get on their bus and everybody goes home.
That's gonna be nice for everybody. What a relief. How's it working out for you?
Thanks for asking. For what it's worth, it's as good as it's been in 2 years. When we moved to the front lot, those first few days, I was loading and sitting for almost 15 minutes. Today, I was on the road in 9 minutes. And my kids are noticeably happier. They know where the bus is, they get on, and we're ready to go. So
I would agree with that, sir.
from the cheap seats, it's a tremendous improvement at the middle school.
Great.
And
Thank you.
Mrs. Klein has been a huge help. I've seen her outside helping the cause. So, thank you.
Nice. Glad you guys were both here tonight.
Also happy to report our enrollment numbers are in the positive compared to where they were supposed to be. Tentatively, it's looking like 3275, of which 50 are attributed to the virtual academy. And I do want to give a shout out to Mrs. Doherty over there because she's the one that really got that virtual academy off the ground before she passed the baton. So that is proving to be beneficial. Our official number won't be until October 1st. So that number will be fine-tuned one way or the other, but that is positive news. Superintendent roundtable. So recently, we met with the union and they had brought some concerns at our intermediate and middle school campus. One was there was a report of no passing bells. It was just the bell to start the school day and end the school day. And I'm happy to pronounce the innovation of Tri-Creek Schools. We implemented passing bells in the year 2025. And
Yes, but I know to do that was complicated because of the two sides, the different, right, lunch bells and the different, like, eventually throughout the day, the intermediate school schedule and the middle school schedule aren't the same anymore. So there's bells on half the building at certain times and the other half at other times. And they're different sounds. And the kids now, they hear the little lunch one, they're like, oh, it's lunch for first group. So it took like 2 days, yeah.
so, beauty, improvement, right? So glad teachers brought that to the table and we worked and we got it fixed.
It's
And
good when it's easy solutions.
yeah. We're sorting through some not so easy solutions right now, but we need to make some scheduling modifications and we're on it, we're working on it, and I am very confident we're gonna figure something out. So love the collaboration on that.
Never ending continuous improvement. This was last year as well. We had to make some tweaks and that's great.
I subscribe to, we don't need to suffer through things for an entire year and look at the next school year. And oftentimes you run into that in schools, like, oh, well, that's something for us to figure out next year. No, we're only 3 weeks in. We can figure this out.
It's good, we're flexible.
So that brings us to the next item. At our October meeting with the teachers union, we will be taking a look at the 26-27 school calendar. And I just wanted to ask the board if there was anything that you would like for us to consider as we sit down. How fall break is landing, the early dismissal Wednesdays. The past 2 or 3 years, we've tweaked this a little bit and didn't know if there were any issues that we need to talk about.
No.
Okay.
I think that's a well tweaked calendar lately. I will say I did like having a kindergartner the first week of school being like starting Wednesday, not being a full week. So if we could try to, I don't know how the dates will land. Well, we were debating last year between a full week and a short.
We did it 1 year. It was almost a full week. It was a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Anarchy.
Yeah, so if we can just try to keep.
That, right?
Yeah.
Why did we decide to start in August instead of like the Tuesday after Labor Day? It's kind of
Long
a traditional for like 100 years.
Testing, right?
I think it's just, that's the norm now. The further south you go, they actually start around like August 5th and they do what they call a balanced calendar. You get a week-long fall break, 2 weeks in the winter, and a 2-week spring break. And we get out at the end of May.
If we started later, that's that much less time we have prior to testing. So you'd lose
And
a
all your
week or 2 of
sports and-
instruction.
I personally would love if it were after Labor Day, but the norm is,
I was just curious. I don't know. It is what it is.
Unless you're like 18th to start.
Well, it's still summer, like it's summer. My nephew started in
Oh, wow.
Indy.
Wow. That would be,
August
what is
7th
he on a
through the
balanced
15th
schedule?
is the calendar.
that is later than normal.
When is it?
August 7th through the 15th.
is the fair.
Yeah. That would be a good consideration, not conflict, We got the dates for Jasper County ended August 1st, and I'm like, Lake County's
Good
August.
insight.
We were on a good news streak there.
Sorry.
Bob.
All right, faculty handbook, it has undergone a major overhaul. It was not updated since like 2018-19. Usually I would provide to you a summary of the changes that took place, but we really ripped it apart and put it back together. It now has the same format as your administrative handbook, the student parent handbook. I would say content-wise, there's nothing, well, there is something majorly different, and it is in regards to teachers being afforded the opportunity to wear jeans. So, other than that, not a lot of major change. And so that is on the agenda for board action.
Having been in and out of the schools, I haven't even noticed that the staff are wearing jeans. Like, it's made no difference in my recognition of what is occurring within the school day. Yep, so.
See, nice top
You're-
with jeans.
You're comfortable, and I like to wear a nice top and jeans, so I think I'm glad we were able to do that.
We also have for board action the RDP Virtual Academy Handbook, so that's on the docket. The certified evaluation plans, I'm highlighting the teacher portion. We do intend to spend this school year looking at an overhaul for the following 26-27 school year. But that's not something that we're equipped to tackle at the moment, so we are recommending for it to maintain status quo. And I might come back to the board at the next meeting to present a different administrator evaluation plan. But for the time being, the one that's presented would be status quo unless next month I have the opportunity to make an improvement in that. And then we've got a couple proposed clubs, the guitar club, and there is a new club it's called Criminal Justice, and it's just an extension of the classroom content. Sounds pretty exciting. I met with Mr. Bogathy and Mr. Principal Geringer the other day. And then finally, on the board agenda is to approve a study trip to England and France. And we have a seasoned world leader in Mr. Whirling. Would you mind just maybe coming over to the podium and giving us the highlights of what to expect on?
You have a very detailed application, all the paperwork that you had to fill out, and just the resume alone of all your trips you have been on blew me away. So you don't have to remember everything you wrote down.
And thank you, board, for considering again another trip overseas. This past spring break had a successful one, taking 57 humans across the pond and bringing them back all safely. Made it over to Greece and had a great time. And for this one, I haven't been to England yet. And my grandfather actually fought in World War II. He was with the 99th Infantry Division and stuff. He wasn't in Normandy on D-Day, but I've always enjoyed that particular part of history. And so I was looking at some different itineraries. I actually put forward two of them to my students at the end of the year last year, both of them dealing with France and England. One of them had us starting in Paris and then ending in London. The other one had us starting in London, ending in Paris. And that was the one that got the most votes. And I decided to go with it. So for this one, it's a day longer than any of the ones that I've done. The longest ones that I've done are 9 days. This one is a 10-day one, and they count the travel days on either end as a day. So we'll be 8 days over on the continents, or island and continent. But we'll start in London for 2 nights. We'll actually hit up Windsor Castle. We'll check out a lot of sites in London. We're going to go down to the southern port, Portsmouth, hop on a boat. We're not gonna take the Channel, we're gonna take over the English Channel. We're gonna go to Normandy, we're gonna stay in Normandy for a day, check out Omaha Beach, Gold Beach, different areas for that particular battle. And then we're gonna spend 2 nights in Brittany. The area of Brittany is the northwestern portion of France. There's a town there called Saint-Michel, that actually, when the tide goes out, you can, like, the city is actually kind of on a beach, like literally on the bedrock of a beach and stuff, and when the tide comes in, it's like a natural moat, for the city and stuff, and it's beautiful. But we're gonna visit some places there, and then we're gonna head to Paris and spend 3 nights in Paris. Go see Versailles as part of the extension, and things like that, and then come back home. So because of the 10-day rather than the 9, we will definitely miss 1 day of school, depending on when we get our flight itinerary. We may end up missing 2 days of school. We may end up missing 2 days before spring break, 1 day on either end, or 2 days at the end. But I hope that's I hope that's not too bad for allowing our kids the opportunity to get out and see the world and see some really amazing places that are a part of, yes, European history, but actually with this one there is definitely parts of our history too. Just like there was with Greece, it's the birthplace of democracy and all of that stuff. So I like offering those opportunities for the kids, and so far all these trips have really been amazing. So I'm hoping that you guys will.
So do we need to make them all sign an attendance contract that they will not miss so many days?
Oh,
So they can miss their 2 days for spring break? Yeah, school trip.
These are exempt from the state study trips.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We don't count
So,
those.
hey,
2 weeks in.
I do have one question though. Does Krista get to go on these with you?
Okay, no, she has not been on any of these with me. So
Oh my gosh.
however, we have been able to take advantage of some opportunities ourselves, and have actually been able to go to Greece ourselves as part of the.
So you scope it out and then tell her, all right, I'll take you to all these sweet
Yeah,
spots.
exactly.
Okay, at least she gets something on the back end of that because she's
Yes,
home
she-
with the kids.
Yes.
Yeah, and you get to go travel the
Yeah,
world.
well, and for at least this particular school year, our kids are actually on a different spring break than Lowell's. I don't know if that's going to be the case for 27. I guess we'll find out next board meeting with the calendar. Yep.
Well, thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you.
And that concludes the superintendent's report.
All right. Any board member reports? Nate's not here. No. All right. I am going to open the public hearing of the Tri-Creek Teachers Organization and Tri-Creek School Corporation for comments from community members regarding teacher compensation related to collective bargaining. So we're going to open the public hearing at this time. Are there any comments? Anybody want to say anything? Right. Closing the public hearing. Board policy, first reading of revised policies.
So we have 8 policies on the docket here, and I'm going to quickly give the overview of each of the ones for the first reading tonight. No board action tonight, just making sure that we've done due diligence. And so here they go. You can see in policy 0141, we're just updating the Indiana code. Policy 0142. By law, we had to reconfigure the going from townships to electoral districts to distribute the populations and the elections of school board. There was also a change in the law to lower the age from 21 to 18 to serve on the school board. So now they will no longer be called West Creek, Cedar Creek, Eagle Creek, but will be electoral district 1, 2, and 3. The board did, I think, a great job of trying to maintain the integrity of each of the original districts as best they could to fit into the confines of the law. The next policy, 0142.2, is just adding the actual oath to embed it in the policy so that we're not scrambling every year to figure out what that oath is required. The next one, 0151, is cleaning up some of the items on the annual organization meeting, and there was an update in the law for that's 30 days after the start of the term. Policy 1113, school directory. We really don't distribute that anymore. Everything is digital and available, so that is recommended to be struck. Evaluation of the superintendent, 1240. We have modified the language to fall in line with the teacher contract in the realm of taking student performance scores out of it. Once upon a time, it was mandated by Indiana law as no longer a requirement, and so you've seen all of that language start to be taken away. Policy 5112 was to put in a waiver process for the age 5 kindergarten, that people can request a waiver if their birthday falls sometime in August before the September 1st. Personal communication devices 5136 is just simply updated to mirror our student handbook, which you've spent quite a bit of time with. And so that's the first reading of those 8 policies. The plan would be to have a reading at the next board meeting and then recommended board action to adopt. We will definitely entertain any proposed changes as a result of this first reading.
So in the past, this was actually a board member role, and they would work together with the superintendent to create these updates. This year, we did it a little different and had a board retreat over the summer and worked through all of this as a board. So is there any suggestions or changes since we spoke in, when was that, July? For any of this from anyone?
Looks fine to me.
All right. Okay, moving on to action items. All right, we are looking at approving a motion to approve the adoption of the new faculty handbook. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions? I know you put a lot of work into that, and it was something you wanted to get done last year, so it's nice to see it fully out the door and updated, so that's great. All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, health curriculum, approval of and acceptance of the new health curriculum. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? It's so great that we have this as an in-person taught class now. I'm really grateful for that. So happy that we've got this now for our students. All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. And then number 3, RDP Virtual Academy Handbook. Can I have a motion? Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Number 4, certified evaluation plans. Can I have a motion? We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yep.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Number 5, contract amendment number 2 between Tri-Creek School Corporation and the Skillman Corporation. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Number 6, approval of the Lowell High School Criminal Justice Club.
I'll make motion.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number 7, approval of Lowell High School Guitar Club. This is so cool. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion?
What is this? The
Guitar
kids all
club.
play guitar together?
Yeah, you wanna hang out? Pick a
different
few
than band.
strings.
I
Yeah.
can't play any music.
It's different than like a band though?
It is, yeah. It's, Mr., I think Ladise, is sponsoring it, and they're gonna bring in their amps and their guitars, and
I wanna see a concert then.
yeah.
I'll be-
I mean, maybe it'll lead to more, people on the pep band.
Hey, they can like jam out before games and stuff.
Well, remember,
Or board meeting, yeah.
in graduation, remember? That was
Come
nice.
and play like soft guitar
They
music.
get quite a few people.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this goes. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Number 8, approval for student trip to England and France during spring break 2027. Have a motion?
Make motion.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Number 9, approve Lowell High School boys varsity tennis team athletic competition at Crawfordsville High School. Have a motion?
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Number 10, Lowell High School boys varsity and junior varsity tennis teams athletic competition at Eastern Junior Senior High School. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Got a whole group of motions.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, action consent items, we'll do them all together. Meeting minutes from Thursday, August 14th, 2025, payroll and claims, and personnel report. Can I have a motion for all 3?
I'll make motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, donation consent items. We have a good list here. All right, approve $10,547.50 donation from Lowell Athletic Boosters to help fund the Lowell High School accounts for huddle, boys tennis uniforms, and football storage. Number 2, pipe fitting machine valued at approximately $10,000 from Pipe Fitters Local 597 of Mokina, Illinois, to support Lowell High School welding classes. Number 3, $3,750 donation from Tri-Creek Education Foundation to help fund the Lowell High School extracurricular account for boys tennis, theater, and the art collection. Number 4, $1,200 donation from Tri Kappa of Lowell, Indiana, to help fund the Lowell High School extracurricular accounts for the academic team, choir, and band. Number 5, donation of a 150 PSI Sears Craftsman 6 horsepower 30-gallon air compressor, approximate value of $300, an air ratchet, approximate value of $150, and a 1/2-inch impact wrench, approximately valued at $150, from Miss Tammy Doherty of Crown Point, Indiana, to help fund the Lowell High School Red Devil Trades carpentry program. Thank you, Tammy. Number 6, $100 donation from Dana Bogathy of Cedar Lake to help fund the Lowell High School precision machining class. Are you guys having a little competition? Oh, nice. Nice.
She reminded me when she was putting it on the agenda, and I'm like, oh yeah.
$200 donation from Joseph and Cheryl Gibson of Lowell, Indiana, to be used for student supplies needs at Lake Prairie Elementary School. A $200 donation from Joseph and Cheryl Gibson of Lowell, Indiana, to be used for student supplies at Oak Hill Elementary School. And a $200 donation from Joseph and Cheryl Gibson of Lowell, Indiana, to be used for student supplies at Three Creeks Elementary School. That's quite a donation from them. $75 donation from Ron and Luann Brown of Lowell, Indiana, to help fund the Charlie Bravo Bike Saver program at Lowell High School. $25 from Gary Pike of Lowell, Indiana, for Feed Them Forward. $10.60 donation from Eileen Montefiore of Maryville, Indiana, to Feed Them Forward. And a donation of miscellaneous school supplies from the Lowell Chamber of Commerce for Lake Prairie, Oak Hill, and Three Creeks Elementary Schools. Can I have a motion for these amazing donations?
Motion. Second.
Motion in a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you all for these fantastic donations for our students and clubs. All right, public comment not related to agenda items. Okay. Any other No. Next meeting, for the Tri Creek Board of School Trustees is scheduled for Thursday, October 9th, 2025, and that is a wrap. Meeting adjourned.